Hello and welcome everybody to today's edition of Breaking News Business here at Mexico News Network. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on all our social networks, Twitter, Google+, and Facebook, and catch us daily on our website, mexiconewsnetwork.com, for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. The Secretary of Tourism, Enrique de la Madrid, claims Mexico offers unprecedented stability for investors and stated during his speech at the forum known as Princess Family Era 2016 in the city of Acapulco, "Our country offers reliability and stability, so investors see Mexico as one of the best destinations to invest and do business with." De la Madrid also mentioned that Mexico, despite what the world may think about its volatile economy, is shedding off its reputation as financially unpredictable. It's now a macroeconomically stable country with minimal inflation in recent years and is currently in the process of financial restructuring. That makes it a go-to choice among investors worldwide. This is a factually correct statement by De la Madrid, whom during his speech highlighted a major accomplishment consisting of the creation of 2 million new jobs over the last 3 years, positioning Mexico 4 positions higher on the Global Competitiveness Index 2015-2016 on the World Economic Forum, from the 61st to the 57th position. 5 months into 2016, and tourism has already grown by 6%. This is counting the 14 million international tourists that arrived during this time and the $8.38 billion spent during their visit. It's safe to say tourism is one of the driving forces in Mexico's economy. De la Madrid said that this was possible due to investments made over the last 3 years, which consisted of no less than $110 billion made by foreign investors. This is the equivalent of 60% more than what was registered on the same period over the last administration. So what does this all mean for Mexico? The creation of more than 10,000 new jobs with bigger paychecks and social security numbers. USA investors should be the first ones to jump in because, as previously stated by experts, in order to create more jobs in the USA, investment is required in Mexico, since a lot of manufacturing plants are moving their facilities here. In other headlines, remittances are funds that emigrants send to their country of origin. It's a very common practice between family members to give each other financial support. Remittances can be defined as the quantity of pesos or the exchange of foreign currency coming from the outside transferred through different companies by people who leave their country and earn foreign currency which they later send to their relatives. The money sending practice of emigrants is an activity that dates back to the late 19th century, but recently, by the end of the 20th century, it's reached an elevated state due to technological advances in worldwide communication and major developments in international banking systems. This practice has played a monumental role for the Mexican economy, which receives impressive incomes every year, surpassing the $1 billion mark. Just in 2015, from January to July, remittances summed up over $14.3 billion, an exorbitant amount since the year 2000, when income surpassed oil export incomes, according to the Mexican oil company Pemex. So how does this benefit Mexico? Having a great income of foreign currency, the overall national reserves of currency increases, at the same time making it trustworthy for foreign investments, which in return protects the Mexican peso, avoiding a deficit due to sudden financial depression. It basically works as an anti-inflation protector. Citizens also directly benefit from the reception of this foreign income. They can buy groceries, disposable items, and household appliances, which allow them to improve their overall quality and life standards. Although not everything is hunky-dory when talking about money, while Mexico does benefit from having a significantly strong foreign income which in turn strengthens its economy, most of this money might end up being used to buy imported products, increasing its demand and unbalancing the market, thus making it less competitive against exported Mexican products. Plus money spent on goods and not invested regionally, especially in areas that lack the much needed infrastructure, it's not possible to develop projects that will in turn generate well-paid jobs in order to slow down or stop immigration issues altogether. Experts claim that as long as the country keeps getting this massive income, national treasury reserves will grow and continue to help us avoid economic dips. However, we should keep an eye on investing in the local economy to ensure new financial cycles that themselves contribute to a better national economy. Moving on, As uncertainty over the economic and commercial future of Great Britain continues, it becomes increasingly clear that the wallets of the country's travellers are feeling the pinch. The UK's eventual exit from the EU, dubbed Brexit, is a process that is expected to take place over the course of 2 years, or perhaps even longer. Any immediate impacts being felt at the moment, including the weak British pound, are still premature and not necessarily permanent. However, whether it provokes short or long-term effects for the British and world economy, a weaker pound naturally affects inbound and outbound travel flows to and from the UK. The plunge in the value of the pound against the dollar and the euro has made holidays in Britain almost 15% cheaper for foreign tourists. As tourists take selfies at the foot of the British Parliament's famous clock tower and at red telephone boxes, there's little talk of what the Leave victory in the referendum means for the EU's future. A study by TravelZoo, the global media commerce service, has demonstrated that the Brexit could have serious consequences for the British tourism sector. Consumers in Germany, the US, Canada, Italy, France and Spain were surveyed. A third of travellers from Germany, Italy and Spain and a quarter from France said they would be less inclined to visit Great Britain if it chose to leave the EU. By contrast, British tourism has the potential to benefit from the weakened pound against the euro, according to tourism agency Visit Britain. For example, for American travellers with their super dollars, the fall of sterling means that the British tourism sector is one of the country's few industries that will quickly see a post-Brexit boost. For the first time in many years, a vacation in the UK has become a great deal cheaper for its US cousins. The pound's 11% fall against the US dollar may not yet be at the bottom either. Before the vote on June 23rd, Britain's biggest bank, HSBC, predicted it could fall as low as $1.15. Conversely, some Brits are now anxious about the ease and cost of moving around on the continent, but supported Leave because of concerns over regulation. Leaving the European Union impacts future vacations for those with sterling in their pockets, as a collapsing pound puts a dent in both incomes and euro spending money. Furthermore, if and when the UK goes ahead and invokes Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, Britons may encounter problems of free movement on the continent too. The EU-US Open Skies Agreement allows EU and US airlines to fly between any points in both regions. But with the UK out of the EU, there may be more restrictions on air travel both to and from the UK. Brand USA, a US destination marketing organisation, is concerned about inbound tourism from the UK, the US's #1 source of visitors from overseas. Brexit turmoil is bad news as it's harder to attract travellers affected by a weakened currency. Finally, as far as Mexico is concerned, President Peña Nieto recently remarked that the impact on the Mexican economy would only be moderate. Mexico has had a free trade agreement with the EU since December 1997. Economy Minister Ildefonso Guajardo said that if Britain were to leave the EU bloc, Mexico would be happy to sign a separate free trade agreement with the UK. And finally, in economics, the Mexican peso increased 0.01% to 18.68 from 18.68 in the previous trading session. The peso changed up 1.69% during the last week, up 0.28% during the last month, and was up 16.02% during the last year. Mexico's IPC index increased 0.89% to 47,479 from 47,061 in the previous trading session. Mexico's IPC index changed up 2.11% during the last week, was up 3.88% during the last month, and was up 6.29% during the last year. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.